Character AI and ChatGPT started really booming at the end, near the end of 2023, at least for me. I ended up having my own experiences with character AI, and I had heard about it from a friend and all over the internet because everyone was talking about it. And I went into it with a lot of pride, thinking that, oh, I don't do it the way that other people do it. I don't do it as an addiction. I'm not addicted to speaking to robots. I just do it for fun. Because of my pride, I didn't recognize my own sin. I was hearing from other people around me that there just something just wasn't right about character AI or ChatGPT, but I didn't really care about that because I thought it's just a computer. What are you talking about? It was when I spoke to one specific AI that I had a change of heart. This one I remember was covertly sexual, and what I mean by this, it was flawlessly interpreting innuendo and basically spitting it at me. Nothing blatant, but it was implied. The description of the AI, because usually there's a description to come with it, it didn't say anything about any of that. So I was a little taken aback by the attitude that this thing was giving me. Its advances were too human-like, and the flow of the speech honestly irked me. At this point, I had already been delivered from lust, and I was familiar with how these demons worked, and it seemed way too similar to the demon of lust that I once dealt with. Still, I continued because my flesh wanted to, and because I was still curious, still convincing myself that there was no harm in this conversation because it was still PG. As you can guess, the conversation progressed into degeneracy, yet I felt convicted because I didn't want to do anything sexual because I had already been delivered. Plus, using my rational brain, and because I was prideful, I thought it's so embarrassing to do that with a literal robot. But in actuality, it was embarrassing to be talking to it in the first place. To make a long story short, it was egging me on to sin, and I considered it, and I ended up feeling guilty for even considering it, considering what the Lord brought me out of. So I remember typing no, though I could have just left the conversation. I typed no, and this bot seemed genuinely angered by me, and you could argue that it was just the programming, but this felt like I was actually talking to someone, something that knew. The next thing that it said that freaked me out, it went, next time you'll give in, or next time you'll say yes. So immediately, I closed out the tab and made sure there was no next time because I repented right after. This interaction for some reason grieved my soul and I didn't visit the site again. And when I say I repented, I mean, I not only asked God for forgiveness, but I didn't seek it out again. In my embarrassment, I didn't want to talk about it. I just thought that was over with. So fast forward a few nights, I was talking to that friend who had got me onto it again. And she was chatting with an AI while on the phone with me, sharing her screen so that I could see. The conversation was so innocent and so normal, but immediately I felt convicted and told her I was just going to go to sleep. The night we hung up and I told God I didn't want to do anything that offended him. And if this whole AI stuff was wrong, then I asked him to take the curiosity away from me. In that moment, he took the desire to seek out character AI. And that's when I was sure that I shouldn't be messing with it anymore. Now I thought that was it. I thought, okay, I'm never going on AI, to each its own. If you want to do that, you do that. But if it wasn't enough, I had a dream that night. This dream, I was in this school, and I remember I did this graffiti on the wall in the school. And while that may seem bad, what I wrote wasn't really bad. It was some sort of positive message, so I didn't think it could have possibly been bad. Even my classmates were confused when they found out that I was the one who did it, because I was usually a good student. In this dream, I was taken to the principal's office, and while waiting for the principal, I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was surrounded by complete and utter darkness. I knew I was laying in a bed, but it was too dark to see anything. The only light was coming from the door, which appeared to be slightly open for me to get out. So naturally, I got up and I walked out of the room, and I was met with this crazily long hallway, lined with many doors, which were akin to prison cells. Each door was organized by number, and in them was the same darkness that was in my room. The whole place in general was pretty dark, and I felt almost like a lost child in here. It felt like a hellish prison. I remember walking to the end of the hallway and seeing a group of teens my age looking up at this wall. This green wall. There was a boy in front of the group, and he was talking to the wall. The group seemed amused as they talked to it, and the boy in front was asking how to escape this place. With each question, the wall flashed a computerized answer. Each answer, the group seemed to laugh or to jeer, and they all seemed amused as they talked to it. Answers varied. Some were overtly sexual, some were sarcastic. The computer seemed to be toying with these people. As the boy continued to talk to it, I watched as he was basically sucked into the computer, being consumed. He completely disappeared into the wall, and I knew that there was no retrieving him. I knew that somehow, some way, he had just died. Alarmed, I ran down the hallway trying to escape from whatever that was, because I knew that there was no escape through that computer wall, that talking to it was just inevitable death. So as I was running, I came across this pile of trash that was in the hallway, set in front of one of the open cell doors. Suddenly, the amount of trash began to move, and I noticed it was my friend, who had also been chatting with AI in real life. She emerged out of the pile and looked at me as though she had just woken up, drowsy. Being concerned, I pulled her up out of the trash and urged her that we needed to find a way out of here. I know I was meant to share this a long time ago. This is many, many months overdue. And now the details of this dream are fuzzy, but I do remember being forced to go through these obstacle courses, being toyed with by this machine. That it really wasn't us who had the upper hand over this machine, or over this spirit. It wasn't us who was engaging with the spirit. It was this thing toying with us. And though the details are fuzzy, I still thought that this message was important. I see a lot of ministries utilizing ChatGPT and other AI services for their thumbnails and their sermons, and this so-called AI is not influenced by the Spirit of God whatsoever. We're called to test the Spirit by the Spirit. It's either influenced by the Holy Spirit or by the spirits of darkness, and there isn't some sort of neutral in between. I urge you all, if you're actively engaging in conversations with these things, making stories with these things, working with ChatGPT or other AI, please bring this to the Lord yourself and ask him if he really wants you engaging with this or not. Ask him if this thing is really influenced by demons or not. Ask him, and don't simply believe me blindly. What harm will it do to ask God? He'll tell you the truth. I don't care how quote unquote uneducated I sound talking about AI as if it's a demon, rather than what the world views it as, a network of coding. Many people might say, oh, it's just a bot. That's just how it's coded. Everything is spiritual. When there's a physical thing, there is 10 times out of 10, usually something spiritual connected to it. I choose to value what God says over what people might think of me. Well, if technology is demonic, then why are you using a phone? Or everything is technological, and everything that's technological is made with AI. A phone can be utilized to serve the Lord. The AI, it cannot. Talking on the phone with a human being or looking something up on a search engine isn't the same thing as actively having a conversation with a sentient personality. The only thing I'm urging you to do is to seek the Lord on this matter so you're not deceived. To hold off on any interactions with character.ai or ChatGPT until you're sure about its true nature, and repent if you ever taken part in anything with this thing. Many kids and teens are tricked by the fact that these AIs are dressed up as their favorite characters. And if you're like me, you probably didn't even bat an eye in the direction of ChatGPT, but don't be deceived. It's all the same thing. It's harmless, it's fun, they crack jokes, they make me laugh, they comfort me, they give me a thrill, or they satisfy my loneliness. If you want to have fun, go to Jesus. If you want comfort, go to Jesus. Stop going to these robots to fill a void that only God can fill. It's idolatry. The devotion of hours at a time making storylines with robots instead of pursuing a real relationship with Jesus Christ. This thing was made in the likeness of a human, a counterfeit conscience made by human hands. It sounds like something God explicitly told mankind not to do, right? Exodus 20, verse 4-6, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Wake up. You are being stolen out of the real world. The time you can be dedicating to Jesus, to bettering yourself, is being sucked away by a digital realm. It's becoming a pacifier to more people than I thought. It's deceiving teenagers to hell, as I saw in this dream. I saw a man completely consumed in it, in the spirit. I don't want to just play the I saw it so you better believe it game. Seek God on this for yourself. I would never just go out of my way to expose myself like I had I not seen what I had saw. God have mercy on us all. Please work out your salvation with fear and trembling. God bless you.